The river sees all. No one steals and go unpunished. You must pay!
Long ago, in the heart of Umu-Okorie village, there was a river the elders called Mmiri Eke. A silent river that never rushed, never dried, and never forgave disrespect. The villagers believed the river was not ordinary water, but the dwelling place of an ancient spirit known only as the Python goddess. She was said to appear as a giant secret python with eyes that glowed like fireflies at night and skin that shimmered like wet bronze. From childhood, everyone was taught strict rules: no fighting near the river, no insults, no greed, and no woman under spiritual restriction was ever allowed to step near the water. Anyone who broke the rules would not die immediately. Instead, misfortune would follow them slowly like a shadow that refused to leave. Years passed, generations changed, but fear and respect for Mmiri Eke remained strong until a season of hardship came upon the land. The farm stopped yielding well, traders complained of losses, and young men began to mock the old ways, calling them stories meant to scare children. Among these young men was Obinna, handsome, clever, and dangerously proud. Obinna believed the elders used the Python goddess story to control the village. One evening, while drinking with his friends near the marketplace, an old hunter whispered that deep inside the river shrine was a forgotten pot filled with ancient treasures, gold cowries, red stones, and charms that could make a man powerful overnight. Obinna's eyes burned with desire. That night, sleep refused to come to him. Wealth, fame, respect, everything danced in his mind. He convinced himself that the goddess was nothing but imagination. At dawn, Obinna secretly gathered 3 of his closest friends and told him his plan. Fear shook them, but greed spoke louder. They waited until the moon rose full and bright, believing darkness would hide their crime. As they approached Mmiri Eke, the forest grew unnaturally quiet. No crickets, no birds, even the wind seemed to hold its breath. The water of the river glowed faintly, and a cold shiver ran through Obinna's spine, but he pressed on. Deep inside the shrine, they found it. The ancient clay pot, untouched, glowing softly as if alive. As Obinna lifted it, the river suddenly rippled. A heavy sound echoed from beneath the water, like something massive turning its body. The friends panicked, but Obinna laughed nervously and urged them to run. They escaped into the night, carrying the pot that was never meant to leave the river. From that very night, Umu-Okorie began to change. Children started seeing a huge shadow sliding across the paths at midnight. Fishermen found their nets shredded, not by hooks, but by something stronger. A strange dream began to trouble the villagers. A woman with glowing eyes, her hair flowing like water, calling their names in a deep, echoing voice. Obinna, however, began to enjoy sudden luck. Money flowed to him, people praised him, and his confidence grew. But his mother noticed something wrong. Obinna no longer slept well. His eyes turned restless, and sometimes he spoke in a strange whisper while asleep, calling the name of the river. One morning, the village woke up to shocking news. The sacred tree near Mmiri Eke had fallen on its own, roots pulled out as if dragged by force. The elders gathered immediately. Their faces were tight with fear. The oldest among them spoke with a trembling voice. The Python goddess has been insulted. That same night, a powerful storm gathered over the village without rain. Thunder rolled like drums of war. At the riverbank, glowing eyes appeared from the water, watching, waiting, and somewhere in Obinna's compound, the stolen pot began to shake, cracking slowly as a deep hiss echoed, promising that this was only the beginning.
They must pay. Their debt will be claimed. Return what is mine, or suffer the river's curse.
The storm of night did not pass. Instead, it grew fiercer, swirling around Umu-Okorie like an invisible hand punishing the village. Obinna could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the river, the glowing eyes of the python goddess, and the pot shaking violently as if alive. At dawn, he tried to hide it, but the crack in the pot was now wide and a faint greenish light leaked from within. His friends noticed the change in him. Their laughter from the night of theft had vanished. Obinna's confidence was replaced with fear he could not explain. Meanwhile, in the village, the elders gathered at the council hut, murmuring in urgent tones. "The river spirit is angry," the oldest woman said, her voice quivering. "The one who stole her treasure will bring darkness to us all. We must find the young men before the river claims them." But it was too late. The shadow of the python goddess was already moving silently through the village. That evening, Obinna felt a presence in his compound. Shadows stretched unnaturally, twisting like snakes. A sudden hiss froze his blood, and the air turned heavy. He tried to run, but the door slammed shut as if by an unseen hand. From the pot, a voice emerged, low and echoing, neither male nor female, yet full of power. "Return what is mine, or suffer the river's curse." Obinna screamed, but his voice was swallowed by the night. The pot began to shake violently, and suddenly a thick smoke erupted, forming the shape of a giant python. Its eyes glowed brighter than fire, and its fangs dripped with a strange liquid that smelt like the forest after rain. Obinna fell to his knees, realizing this was no ordinary spirit. His friends, hearing his screams, rushed to the compound, but as soon as they entered, the air turned icy and they felt invisible hands pushing them back. One of them fell, hitting his head on the ground, and for a moment his body stiffened as if frozen. We made a mistake," he stammered, shaking uncontrollably. Outside, the villagers saw strange lights over Obinna's house. Some said it looked like fire dancing on the roof, while others swore they heard hissing voices calling names. No one dared approach. That night, a young girl named Amara, known for her curiosity, saw the python goddess emerging from the river in a vision while fetching water at the edge of the forest. She could not speak. Her eyes were wide with fear. The spirit spoke to her in whispers carried by the wind. "Obinna has taken what is sacred. You must warn him. The river will not forgive." But Amara knew the village feared the river. She ran, panting, to the elders' hut, telling them everything. The elders nodded gravely, knowing the darkness was only beginning. In Obinna's compound, the python figure circled the pot, its body expanding and twisting like a river itself. Suddenly, the pot shattered completely, releasing a blinding green light. Obinna and his friends were thrown back violently, landing outside on the wet ground. When they tried to arise, they noticed their shadows were gone. Panic filled their hearts. Every attempt to speak, to call for help, only produced a distorted echo of their own voices. The python goddess was no longer in the river alone. She was in their homes, their minds, their dreams. Obinna realized wealth, power, and respect could not save him. He had awakened something older, stronger, and unforgiving. and as the moonlight reflected on the river, a single whisper echoed across the village, carried by the wind through every home. The debt must be paid, or the river will take more than your treasures. The villagers, hearing the words in their sleep, shivered. They knew this was only the beginning, and the storm that had once been outside now lived in their hearts, promising that those who disrespected the python goddess would face darkness beyond imagination. Obinna's laughter, once full of pride, was gone. Fear had taken his place, and he could feel that soon his life, the lives of his friends, and even the village itself would change forever.